We're going to talk about Super Bowl. Tell me what we can expect to see from Pepsi in this year's Super Bowl.
Sure. Well, as always, Super Bowl is very important to us. It's very important to PepsiCo. And in fact, this year we have 4 brands involved in the Super Bowl. We have Quaker, first time for a long time. Crashed the Super Bowl with Doritos, 7th year running now. We have Gatorade, which again is featuring itself on the sidelines mainly. And then, of course, Pepsi.
Okay.
And this is a bit different for Pepsi. So rather than the traditional just buying TV commercials, we're actually sponsoring the halftime show that's featuring Beyonce this year.
And you're back again after what, 5 years hiatus?
Yeah, 5 years ago we were involved in the halftime show, so we're back again, yeah. So we're very excited about that, yeah.
Excellent. Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
Reports have, a 30-second spot in the Super Bowl costing just under $4 million. Is it worth it?
I think that number may be a bit high, but yeah, it's a high impact event for us, and we track it. Obviously, we track sales before, during, and after. We track brand health. We track how consumers are getting involved in our brand. But it's one of those moments in the year which really, where it kicks off your year, it kicks off the season for soft drinks, and you've got 100 million odd people watching. So it's a high impact event. So
and obviously, it's a relevant context. I mean, this
absolutely.
is an event where people are going to be arguably drinking soft drinks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and for us, it's very relevant, as we've been long associated now with the NFL. We have a long-standing relationship with the NFL, 10-year relationship with them. It's been going for much longer than that now, 10 years going forward. And we feel great about that relationship. So for us, bringing football, and in this case music, together is really the epicenter of what Pepsi stands for.
So does it cause people to want to go out and buy Pepsi and Pepsi products?
It does. I mean, if you look at before the game itself, we have a great relationship in store with Doritos, and in this year, in fact, with Anheuser-Busch as well. So
let's talk a little bit about that.
Over the course of the next few weeks, you'll probably see over 250,000 displays in store of featuring Frito products, Anheuser-Busch products, and PepsiCo products, Pepsi products. And the reason we do that is because it's such a big party occasion. All of those products together. Often, if you're going out shopping for a party, then you want to have Anheuser-Busch products, our snacks products, and our soft drinks. And so it's a good basket to complement. If you're hosting a party at home, it's a great basket.
So you're really looking at the consistencies really across those products and bringing them together in a collaborative display, if you will. Will we see more of that from Pepsi moving forward with other brands?
I think you will going forward, yes. I mean, so yes, bringing those products together, they certainly form a big part of the occasion. The party occasion is something we're very, very fond of at PepsiCo, and I think you'll see more of that going forward.
So you touched on the metrics that you're going to take a look at. Talk a little more specifically about that. Obviously, social media plays such a big role now in all media, in all advertising, but particularly in the Super Bowl. So what are you personally really going to be paying the most attention to? What are you most curious to see happen coming out of the Super Bowl?
Well, I guess you can probably think about it in 2 ways. One is the traditional metrics, which I'll touch on, and also some more of the contemporary metrics, which are operating now in the social space. So from a traditional point of view, we'll look at things like basic brand share movements, share of display, which we touched on already, inventory, share of velocity off shelf, and how people are actually thinking about our brands, what their perceptions are of our products. And then in the news space, we have measures around share of social conversation, how long people stay engaged with us online and on the second and third screens. And so we really have 2 sets of metrics, and quite honestly, the second set are just as important as the first set.
How do you take advantage of that momentum that comes, following the Super Bowl in terms of brand engagement and, conversation going on in social media, for example?
Well, I think one of the most important things is to keep it going throughout the year. So, as it happens, following the Super Bowl, the Grammys, and so I'm sure we'll have a chance to talk about that soon, but that'll be a big event for us as well. So you'll find from Pepsi and PepsiCo, we'll have a number of events which really continue to drive conversation around Pepsi. Product launches, new brand campaigns, all of which build and build and build towards the summer.
What does all this say about the continued value of TV in general and appointment viewing? At a time when media is so fragmented and social media does create such consumer control of brands, if you will.
Yeah, of course. It's an and, not an or. I mean, TV's here. It'll be here for a number of years to come. It's not going away. How we use it will be different. How we link television commercial advertising to offline and social networking is going to be really important, giving consumers a chance to get engaged with our brands in a way they haven't done before. In fact, I'd suggest this year's Super Bowl is really a pivotal moment for PepsiCo. With the Doritos work, with the work Quaker's doing, and indeed with PepsiCo's work, and the fact we're getting consumers to actually get involved in our commercial as a first shows you that we're really trying to bridge the link between TV work as well as social media work.
So crowdsourcing actually has been sort of core to Doritos' campaign, certainly for the last few years.
Yeah.
And now you're using the same technique with, for the Pepsi brand. Is there any fear, though, that crowdsourcing as a technique is going to lose a little bit of its newness?
I think it depends on how you do it. So what we've done at Pepsi is we haven't just asked consumers to create an ad, we've asked them to feature the introduction to the halftime show. So essentially what's happened, we've constructed the commercial, and then we've asked consumers to submit a photo in a certain pose, which they'll then use to, we've then used to construct a 30-second commercial which basically introduces Beyonce onto the stage. And that's so it's a slightly different way of using consumers in advertising. I think that's going to be really important going forward. We can't just do what Doritos done. They do it so well, and we'd rather do something a bit different. So it's here to stay. How we do it and how manufacturers do it is going to be really important going forward.
Let's talk now again about the halftime show. Sure. Beyonce is going to be featured. Yeah. You're back doing it again. What's the unique value of the the halftime show? Sure. And also talk a little bit about Beyonce as your spokesperson and why that's been a good fit for the Pepsi brand.
Well, last year we relaunched brand Pepsi underneath the Live for Now proposition, really talking to consumers who want to live in this moment. I mean, past is gone. The future's, especially today, is so hard to manage, so maximize your time now. Pepsi's always been associated with cultural moments, with music and with sporting moments, and so we know we're at our best when we're at the epicenter of pop culture. No one better represents that today than Beyonce. No event better represents that than the Super Bowl. So having the Super Bowl and Beyonce together is really, for us, I think, nirvana. It's really the center of what our brand stands for. And Beyonce, we've worked with Beyonce before internationally. When I was working internationally, Beyonce was a part of our campaigns 4 or 5 years ago. She's a great spokesperson for us. She's an excellent artist. She's at the top of her game and is really leading music to a new era. So to be associated with that and to have her values and Pepsi's values, which are very similar, trying to bring entertainment to our fans and her fans, is really, I think, a great match for us. How
reflective is it of the fact that, and you mentioned this earlier, that 45% of the viewing audience of the Super Bowl are women at this point? She represents clearly someone who is arguably, attractive and interesting to a wide, diverse audience.
Absolutely. I mean, both men and women, and multiculturally as well. You're right. I mean, Beyonce is such a good icon for so many people in this country, so many people internationally. I mean, the relationship we have with her is global. And clearly, what happens on Sunday, the Super Bowl has a global audience, and our association with her will have a global audience, and so that's a big platform for us. Yeah.
The flack over her lip syncing during the inauguration, is there any concern about that? It was so close to the Super Bowl. How do you handle that?
We've got no concern. I mean, she's an artist at the top of her game, and I'm sure she'll perform great on Sunday.
So what can we expect to see from Pepsi moving forward as we move into 2013? What are going to be your real priorities for the brands in general?
Well, I think a year ago, Indra set out a vision of getting back behind our mega brands again. So you can expect more news and more innovation and more advertising behind brands like Pepsi, like Mountain Dew, which we have some new news coming out soon. Brands like Gatorade, brands like Lipton. These brands that really are at the front and center of our portfolio and have still got such great momentum with consumers. So you'll see a lot more innovation and advertising from those trademarks going forward. A lot more to come this year.